Hanzo in MK11. Bro, this skin is just almost unbeatable for me in the entire series. Versus MK1's Kuai Liang. Which Scorpion do I genuinely think is better? Now, this video will mostly focus on the actual gameplay of these characters, but I'll give a point to who I think has the better customization. And I mean, do I even need to say anything? In MK1, all of the best skins are Hanzo skins, and seemingly all the best skins in MK1 either cost money or you have to wait till the game gives it to you for free. Not to say MK1 Scorpion doesn't have any cool skins that you can unlock. Like, you could do some pretty decent designs. These skins that you unlock just by leveling up your character look very nice. This gold is shiny and it's pristine. But truthfully, it's just an MK1 problem where every great skin that you would want is a microtransaction, but that doesn't only apply to Scorpion. MK11 Scorpion just clears. You can do these blacked out looks like this. I do have glowing items on, but I think it looks really cool with the dark skin. You can do very stylized classic looks that don't have any glowy features, but the skin just fits together so perfectly. You can recreate superhero-like looks. I call this skin Batman, and a skin like this one, or this one, Iron Man. Now, not every character can do that, but there's just so many ways to design. But the game takes an extra slam dunk in terms of customization because the skins you can unlock through playing are just as good as any microtransaction. Want to feel like Reptile in MK11 who was sadly left out? Well, here you go, a Combat League reward. Everybody knows how hyped they were seeing this Combat League reward skin coming in Season 1, white and red. You can also do the red and black version. The MK9 Scorpion skin, minus the mask, I forgot to pair that up, but yeah, this was unlockable through towers. So MK11 is taking point number 1, but now let's get into the gameplay of the characters to really decide who's the best. We're starting with pokes. On MK11, we have Scorpion's down 1, his down 3, his down 4, and then his down 2. Down 2s are important in this game because they're tied to a KB that does a ton of damage, but Scorpion's isn't that great in 11, I'll be honest. But Hanzo has some highlight pokes. His down 3, although it only does 1% damage, it starts up in 8 frames, giving him an 8 frame low. It's only -6 on block as well, so it is not punishable. And in a game that thrives on mashing and micro ducks, having a down 3 that fast is great for checking your opponent or getting away with some cheeky mashing. His down 4 is 11 frames and it goes decently far. This is comparable to Scorpion's down 3 in MK1. It's only -9 on blocks, so just like down 3 in MK1, it's pretty hard to punish. And his down 1 is super standard. It's a 7 frame move. The range though is quite nice. You can get away with some far down 1s with Scorpion. Now going to MK1, the down 1 is almost identical. 7 frames with a similar amount of range, and it's only -8 on block, just like MK11. It's basically an identical copy of the MK11 version. Down 3 now is 10 frame startup, but has much more range and does 1% extra damage, so it does 20 instead of 10. But then we get to Scorpion's down 4, which only does 3% damage, and it's 11 frame startup and super stubby. Like, there's almost no point unless you're trying to anti-air, but usually when you can down 4 anti-air, you could down 1 anti-air. Now, a drawback to MK1 Scorpion's down 3, which is 1 frame faster than his down 4, and all of that, it is -12 on block on this game, so it is more punishable, which does hurt considering it has basically the exact same range, does basically the exact same damage, and many would trade that 1 frame of startup for being less punishable on your pokes. Down 4, it really shouldn't be used that much when down 3 exists, but it is only -6 on block, so not punishable. But its only benefit is it's a low, because look, down 4 is going to whiff, down 1 will hit. There's like, this down 4 is just kind of trash. But I think the major notable thing that Scorpion and MK1 lacks is a really fast, close range, low poke. This down 3 being so fast and borderline having more range than MK1's down 4 is wild, and I think that's what gives MK11 the lead when it comes to Scorpion's pokes. Give it to Hanzo, he's already up 2-0, that's kind of crazy, I didn't envision this. Next up, I want to talk about short range jabs, and oh no, I think Hanzo is washing right here. Stand 2 goes decently far, and it is +3 on block. And it's not something where you need to one-hit hit confirm, because you could do stand 2-1 and still be +2 on block. On top of that, Scorpion has the 7 frame stand 1. It's only -2 on block. The 1-1 though is a high mid that is really solid, only -6 on block, so not punishable, but crucially, it leads to 112, which is -6 on block as well, but applies so much micro duck pressure right here on block. It's how you've seen me micro duck a billion times. His jabs don't really whiff on opponents. They're solid, so you can either take plus frames, or you could take some pressure with the damage mixed with micro ducking if it's blocked. Slash. Flawless block reversals, baby. It's a perfect move to put your opponent into a weird frame trap. Yeah, coming over to MK1, Scorpion doesn't have a lot going for him. He has the stand 1 right here. It's 7 frame startup. The 1-2 is high, and the second hit is -3, which isn't bad. And its one perk is that it does have some range, so you can catch the opponent with a high like that. The thing is, the opponent is set to block right now. See, I'm controlling Reptile right now, and look at that first hit, just will whiff no matter what. So you don't even really need to worry about guessing correct the first time, because I can be blocking, see that first hit whiff, then let go of block like I'm doing right now. It's crazy. Meaning, put another point on the board for Hanzo. Plus frames are great. Stand 1-1-2 puts the opponent in weird situations where you can capitalize, and he's just so much better when it comes to close range jab attacks. But now we go to long range jabs, and this one I think is pretty clear. Scorpion's stand 2 is one of the best buttons he's had in a very long time. High mid just like this, doesn't have a gap in between it, and it goes super far for a 10 frame startup move. Comparing that to MK11 Scorpion, this is where he struggles, because you have the stand 2, which is 9 frame startup, and the stand 1, which is 7 frames. There's not a lot you can do right here that starts up rather quickly and can check the opponent's backdash or anything like that, because once you get to this range, you have to use mids. So if an opponent is rocking a -12 high pushback move, you're kind of out of luck right here. Scorpion can't really punish it. And compared to MK11, there isn't that gap where all of a sudden you have nothing to do, because here you can do the stand 2 up close. You could use this kind of wacky jab, or you can throw out your mid. And if we're outside this range where we need to start combos, that's why we now have back 3, which can start combos basically full screen. So in terms of long range jabs, that one has got to go to Kuai Liang in MK1. He's finally on the board. I love the stand 2 in this game. But now we move over to mids, and Scorpion has the forward 3, which starts up in 12 frames, and the long range 21 frame startup back 3. Now that he has back 3, I believe he has a great balance of a slower but very long range mid. And 12 frames for MK1 at least isn't terrible. It was only bad when Johnny Cage had multiple mids, and Scorpion started up slower than Johnny Cage's, which was the same exact range. Now that Scorpion got buffed, Johnny Cage does not have a mid that reaches this far, so Scorpion finally has a purpose for having such a slow and stubby close range mid. On top of this, his forward 3-4 doesn't have a gap in it, and it hits mid, which is amazing because this converts into combos with like half the cameo roster at this point, which is really nice. No way for the opponent to get out of that once you start the string. When we discuss Scorpion mids in MK11, it's important to note that Hellport cancel is basically a requirement at the high competitive level, meaning due to the weird restrictions in this game, we cannot attach the Death Spear combo variation slot. Forward 3 is 13 frame startup, and then we just go up by 1. So back 1 is 14, and then back 2 is 15 frame startup. All of those are slower than his forward 3 in MK1, but it does lead to an even larger issue that I believe Scorpion has in this game. Scorpion is probably one of the prime examples of what if we got a final patch in MK11 characters, because in my opinion, the mids in this game were slightly lacking. For starters, you needed to one-hit hit confirm this move because we were restricted via variation. If we were able to use this extension right here with teleport cancel, his mids would have been much better, because it would have given us a second hit to properly hit confirm his fastest mid. Because we need teleport cancel, we're forced to online trying to on reaction hit confirm that, which can be very difficult in a game that you cannot select based on wired or wireless, and the ping requirement to be able to decline is like 150 milliseconds. It's absurd, so in many matches, you are not able to hit confirm this at all. His back 1 is the highlight because it does have 2 hits to hit confirm, starts up in 14 frame with a decent amount amount of range, but it really could be better. It's still the best though because there's no gap right here, unlike a lot of his other strings. Like he has a gap right here, he'll have a gap right here, but his back two at 15 frames is clearly his long range mid. The issue is, I don't think it goes far enough. MK11 is a game where lots of characters get 9-frame mids. This one from Cabal, 9 frames, hits mid. It's stubby-ish, but it honestly does decent range. This mid from Cassie, 9 frames, and it's going as far as Scorpion's forward 3. And it's so much faster, but on top of that, 9-frame startup, second hit overhead, meaning it is a hit confirmable mid. I just canceled into a special move. I just canceled into another one. Scorpion's mids are outclassed in this game by far, in a game with tons of 9-frame mids and 9-frame mids like this one that have second hits for hit confirming. But it gets worse for Scorpion's mids when you think about how many characters are good in the air due to things like jump kick OS and a lot of air movement abilities like Jackie, Cabal. If you've ever watched an Averk MK11 video, you'll realize that Averk only does the back one when confirming into stuff like teleport or spear, alongside basically every single other move Scorpion has. It is one hit, then you do the special move. That's because in this game, if you go for the whole string like that on somebody who jumps, I just got full combo punished, even though, you know, Scorpion's leaping. You need to cancel after one hit just like that to guarantee that you get the combo, but also so that you don't get full combo punished for stuff like that while he loses his rightfully deserved combo. It's like a 60% damage swing. It's that bad. So you're left with Scorpion having a bunch of slowish mids compared to the rest of the cast that he has to confirm after one singular hit. So yeah, in the mids category, it's easily MK1 Scorpion. MK11 Scorpion was not highlighted by his fast or his reliable mids, that's for sure. Okay, but now we talk about gaps. MK11 Scorpion and MK1 Scorpion both have a lot of gaps. In terms of MK11 Scorpion, you have a whole bunch of them. Everyone knows this overhead is basically unusable. His 4-3-4 also becomes a death trap. The final hit of 2-1-2 has a very obvious gap, so you can't even get those plus frames. And overall, it makes for a really rough time for him because this low overhead right here, it's not even a mix because he has no special moves to actually mix it up, but he can't use this move at all. Either the second hit overhead is flawless block punished, or the final hit right here is -8 on block, meaning it's jab punishable because you're standing. -8 on block pokes are fine, because you're down here low profiling the fast jabs. This though, you are getting 1-1 punished right away. And that leads over to MK1 Scorpion, where I think the fact that Scorpion got one change and MK11 Scorpion is lacking one change makes MK1 Scorpion's gaps way more manageable because 4-3-4 no longer has a flawless block gap, or an armor gap, I should say. Yes, you still deal with this armor gap right here and others, but this buff to 4-3-4 no longer having a gap makes him absolutely clear. You can use it without worry. This could have been a tie if we got one more patch. This gap right here that allows you to be +7 on block for the final hit. Back to this stupid ability that gives you the 4-3-2, so you get the overhead making 4-3, a 2-hit string you can hit confirm, and the 2-1, 2+4. Would have been game changing to use with teleport cancel, because this mid-throw thing would cover the gap and make this truly something hard for the opponent to deal with. If I let go of block to try and flawless block that final hit, the throw will hit me. And there's no flawless blocking this, no matter what I try. It will hit me if I attempt a flawless block, which means people would miss this flawless block right here on your plus frames way more often. Yes, there's still a giant gap, but it would have just made it more tricky. So very clearly when it comes to gaps, MK11 Scorpion didn't get the final change he needed. This one goes to MK1 Scorpion. Now we cover throws, and in MK11, Scorpion actually has it pretty good when it comes to throws because this amplified burning spear will damage boost his forward throw just like this, and he can still use teleport cancel while doing that. On top of that, he gets a crushing blow on his toward throw right here, you see it, but he also gets a crushing blow on his back throw, making it, when he has the KB loaded, a complete guess for the opponent. On top of that, the back throw brutal would activate instantly back in the day, so there was a singular tournament where somebody won from an inescapable throw because of Scorpion's brutal. It's this one right here, and essentially it would just end the game and start the brutal brutal animation instantly, so you couldn't even tech it. He had some nasty throws, and if you pair this up, he's doing a lot of strike throw damage that pairs really well with having plus frame jabs like this. Now, Scorpion in MK1 also has some good throws. He has a Kara throw on his stand 3 into throw. So you'll see on the left right here, throw whiffs when I just hit this button. Here, I'll even do it a bit closer right here. But if I plink it for a Kara throw, that will actually hit because I changed my own hitbox by inputting that stand 3 1 frame before the throw. So he does have one in this game, which is nice. On top of that, everybody knows Scorpion gets great damage off throw combos with characters like Pharah, which is a huge benefit in his strike throw game. 25% for a singular throw. So you're probably thinking this one is going to be pretty difficult, but I actually think I have this decision made up in my mind that I'm giving the throws to MK11. That's because if you're trying to use meta picks like Jax, you're just kind of out of luck. You can no longer do your throw combos, which really sucks. And on top of that, because MK1 Scorpion doesn't have great plus frames, it's harder to assert a great strike throw game like you can in MK11. I just think MK11 Scorpion has great throws compared to the rest of the cast by having 2 KBs attached to it, having a move that pairs with teleport cancel that amplifies damage, so he's essentially the only character getting a throw combo in MK11, plus bonus points for having a win condition throw that couldn't be escaped at one point. Now we focus on the armor attacks, and this one's pretty tough. Scorpion's wake up 3 right here is one of the best in the entire game. It starts up fast, only in 9 frames, and it's only -2 on block for a move that goes that ridiculously far and does 9% damage. His up 2, which, you know, doesn't get the armor or whatever, but launches, it starts up pretty fast too at 13 frames and is only -11 on block. It's not great, but in reality, it's still one of the better ones in the game. It's this move right here that he launches for combos. Compare that to Cabal's get up 3. It starts up in 11 frames and it's -10 on block, so completely punishable, and is up 2, which is 12 frames startup and -13 on block. So completely punishable. It's pretty rough, but when we look at other top tiers like Jackie and Joker, you can just see how good Scorpion's armor is in this game. Joker's wake up 3 is 10 frame startup and -7 on block, so worse in startup and worse in block advantage. His up 2, 9 frame startup, which is pretty good, but it's -14 on block. Jackie Briggs, 10 frame startup on the up 3 and -4 on block. Worst frame data all around for her too. Same as well for her up 2. It is crazy how good Scorpion's armor is in MK11. There is only one character I think has better armor in MK11, and it is Scarlet. Scarlet's up 3 is 9 frame startup, only -5 on block, so it isn't punishable, and this is disgusting when you see the range. But it gets even crazier. Her up 2, which launches, is also 9 frame startup and only -13 on block. You would think that would be like -17. Her wake ups are insane. So with this character right here being the only character that clears you, like, look at that range. I think that's great for Scorpion. He only has one character I can think of with better armor. Now this compares to Scorpion and MK1's armor, which starts up in 13 frames. It's pretty good. Also has decent range for being a 13 frame startup. It's not the fastest in the game. Johnny Cage's Enhanced Shadow Kick, which is his armor, is 10 frame startup and goes basically just as far right here. And it's very fast, as you can see. It can be ducked, but it goes even farther. But you'd probably say the main perk is Scorpion can actually combo off armor with Jax, which is really nice, and other cameos. Does good damage for it. I think the issue for me is it's not the best in both categories, and I can think of more than one character with better armor, whether that be that character can combo off of their armor with any cameo, or it starts up much faster for what it is. It's definitely a big hindrance that if I'm playing something like Pharah, there is no way I can get armored combos, automatically kind of making it useless for me. And MK11, you don't run into that issue. He will be top 2 armor in the entire game, no matter what variation you're playing. I'm giving the best armor to Hanzo and MK11. Now, the next category is useless moves. The character that wins is the one that has the least amount of useless moves, or the ones that are impactful. And I'll just be honest, I call this a tie. In MK1, Scorpion has this forward 4 launcher. Why would you use it? It's basically pointless. It's a high attack, It's slow, it's stubby, it doesn't work as an anti-air. Nobody uses this move at all. I mean, it just has horrible scaling. There's almost no point in ever throwing this out because I'm not getting a lot for it. Yeah, that's 32%, but I could have thrown out my mid, which would have covered ducking as well. That starts up faster and just done 4-3-2 and gotten so much more damage, man. Like, there's no point. I dropped it. It's already doing a ton more. In MK11, we have the stand 3. The most useless anti-air. It's supposed to be like MKX's stand 3, which was an amazing anti-air. This one sucks. There's no reason to use it when you have stand 4, stand 1, down 1, and you can get this to work. Don't get me wrong. Like, it'll anti-air sometimes. I just actually did back 3. It'll anti-air sometimes, but anytime that would anti-air, stand 1 will anti-air, and it's much faster and more reliable. Or stand 4. Same exact startup and everything. There's just no point in having the stand 3. It feels more reliable. And the reason it's considered useless and stand 4 isn't is stand 4 has great damage scaling properties. That's how you get the max amount of damage. Stand 3 does not. So yeah, useless move. It's a tie between MK11 and MK1. Next up is jump attacks, and we're going to be dealing with this one as if MK11 Scorpion has Air Sin Blade on. Now, Air Sin Blade is definitely good against the taller opponents. That one hit mid, but you can make this hit overhead on the way down just like that. But obviously, that's way more risky on the smaller female hitboxes because you're just getting anti-aired for doing this. And next, his jump 2 right here is really solid. I like it a lot. Goes super far, one of the farthest reaching jump 2s. You can mix it up jump 2 overhead into a low. You can mix jump 2 overhead into this. You can do jump 2 overhead throw, anything like that. Now, the one ding I'll give to Scorpion and MK11 is his option select on jump-ins is spear right here. And I just made it look really good. Oh, that'll only come out if the opponent gets hit. Otherwise, I just get a block jump kick. Wow, he must be amazing. Issue is, anti-airs are good in this game, so spear is going to drop unless the opponent is cornered. Otherwise, you're taking a huge risk getting anti-aired because I have to get really close like that or do it really late in order to actually get the spear to confirm because it'll drop. I'm having to jump all the way in. I'm probably getting anti-aired. There are tons of characters like Shang, Cabal, so many others that have much better jump-in option selects. In MK1, Scorpion's jump kick right here is a menace. There are no option selects in this game, so you're having to confirm it. In MK1, people don't really use the jump punches the same way as in MK11, just because, yeah, you're basically getting anti-aired if you try it. But in terms of the jump kick, Scorpion's is very good. It's not as good as Johnny Cage's, but it's probably a top 5 or 6 jump kick in the game, which is really nice. But what helps Scorpion in MK1 a lot is having the TP cancel that he can use in the air with amplified. If this is blocked, I still have jail pressure afterwards, leading to a pretty insane jump in if it's not up blocked. And it's just really nice reassurance that even if it's blocked and I have to do it really early like that, I'm still not screwed. So I think it's only fair to say this one's a tie. Speaking of jumping though, let's go to anti-airs. Which Scorpion do I think has better anti-airs? I'm so sorry to Hanzo, but back 2 for Scorpion is such a good button. It covers so many jumps and full combos. And it's like once you move past that one, stand 1 is still a great anti-air in this game, just like MK11. His down 4, actually a worthwhile anti-air in this game. Scorpion's down 1, great for cross-up jump-ins from your opponent. He has a lot of ways to deal with opponents jumping at him. That's not even to mention that stand 4 is a really viable option as well. Look at that hitbox on this thing. But he actually has tools that just heavily deal with pressure like that. Kano knives, I can just sit there and crouch the Kano knives and low profile the move because I have down 4. Down 1 will work the exact same way. When it comes to the anti-airs in MK11, you really just have stand 1 as well as stand 2 right here. It's just not as special as MK1. You don't have anything super far reaching. Down 1, you really have to let your opponent get close if you want this down 1 to land. Then you have down 3, which just doesn't work, so you don't get that down 4 from MK1 type of vibe to, you know, stop a lot of things. It will work, but it's definitely hard. And then down 4, so like MKX, you can get it right there. But again, you just, like, the timing is too tough for cross-ups right here. I keep going the wrong way, wanting to do it early enough where I'm not going to get hit, but too late like that, and the opponent's already on the ground. It gets really tricky, and he doesn't have the greatest anti-airs comparatively. So although I love Scorpion's stand 1 anti-air in MK11, I also love it in MK1, and I think back 2 from MK1 just makes it so, yeah, MK1 Scorpion wins the best anti-airs. Okay, but now we get to the special moves, and to start, let's go for teleport. MK11 teleport, beautiful. It has cancels here and cancels here. It's just a supreme teleport cancel. On top of that, teleport in this game is starting up in 23 frames, plus has a light mind game on the amplified version. You know, you can catch your opponent trying to punish you, but I'm not really adding anything to that. That's just the way extended special moves work versus amplified. In MK1, the teleport starts up 3 frames slower at only 26 frames. You only get one teleport cancel option, which is right in the opponent's face, and so it's an easy choice. MK11 has the better of the 2 teleports. It starts up faster and its teleport cancels are better. Now we move on to Spear, and Spear is quite an interesting one. Both Spears are going to be starting up in 17 frames. I can show you guys, but here on MK1 it starts up in 17 frames on either game, and I think technically if you duck Spear in MK1 it's a little more punishable than ducking it in MK11, which would technically make it worse. But let's be real, Spear in MK1 clears MK11's because it is a meterless combo extender. It's a pretty easy wash for MK1 in this because every time you want a combo, you're spending the bar. I mean, having a meterless combo extender is just such a huge buff comparatively. We know which one wins. It's just funny that between MK11 and MK1, it's like the 2 Scorpions flip-flopped and which was more powerful, whether it was teleport or Spear. Now we move to armor breaks, and when it comes to armor breaking, this is actually a tie, because you're probably thinking Scorpion doesn't have many armor breaks in MK1. Well, yeah, MK11 Scorpion has a trash armor breaking move. It's his overhead right here. It hits for 7%, but if I set the AI to break away fast, there is no way to guarantee armor break. It literally won't hit. The only way you could do this is a really late air Sin Blade, which can land. But as we've stated before, that's just asking to get anti-aired. So reasonably in a competitive set, that isn't landing. And it's not even reliably consistent. He can land it on that one. But if I actually delay break here, he all of a sudden whiffs. So it's not a guarantee. You're just making it so you can actually possibly do it. It's the only way you could possibly do it. It's not guaranteed. It's easily comparable to the fact that you can break armor with spin right here, but you're really taking a guess, and if you're using Pharah like I do and the opponent guesses correctly, I'm eating a full combo punish for it. He doesn't have a great armor break in either game. I am putting that one at a tie. There are outlier examples for both where it works, but overall I can think of characters in both games that do it exponentially better. Baraka in this game has like 3 ways to break your armor on wake up. Now this category I'm calling amount of utility, and it really is just going to focus on MK11 Scorpion's lack thereof. If you're using a meta class setup like Air Sin Blade with teleport cancel, this is how many special moves you have, and one of them is just the air version of the other. I guess we could throw Sin Blade on here, so I'll call it 3 just to be fair. He has almost no specials, and then on top of this, Scorpion's KBs in this game are very underpowered. His 434 is okay because it actually allows you to combo off that, even though it's 2 hits. You know, normally I'd have to be converting just straight off the 4-3 itself. The thing is, there are characters in this game that have similar styles that don't have to spend bar afterwards. No matter what, Scorpion here is going to have to spend a bar, whether it is Spear or teleport. If he wants to extend it, he's also spending resource. And it doesn't do that much damage if you burn all your resource. It's not even hitting 40% with that one. You could do something slightly more optimal. It just isn't getting the damage boost a lot of other characters do. Next up, he has another pretty useless one. It's the 212 KB. It's one of those things where you just have to spend so much resource to do it. And what? How much damage does this actually add to the combo? Does this even hit 40? No. So the combo would have ended normally at, let's see, 36.5%, So I gained 3% damage for spending that KB. It definitely feels like one that was just added so casuals that are playing Scorpion get to see something cool, but there are optimized ways to do it. You want to get it so that you end off right here at the 8 hit mark, because what it does is you're at 222 or whatever, and it buffs up that damage to almost 30%. It gives you, what, 5% extra damage, maybe? And that's as minimal amount of hits as possible you can keep it at. That's tough. Bad KB. Paired with the fact that his down 2 isn't far-reaching like Jade's or Sindel's or anything, so it's harder to get off than most characters to get the down 2 KB damage. So I'm saying overall utility for MK1 Scorpion, he wins because he has plenty more special moves like Ground Flames, the Spear Spin comes on the base kit, he has a cool armored attack that's a mid that closes space. He has the kameo snag in the air. He just has so many more tools for Scorpion to use. On top of the fact that Scorpion plays the game's mechanics very well, doing a lot of damage, getting mix-ups with Pharah, or applying neutral pressure with Jax. He just wins this over the utility function. I think damage is a tie, because you could technically use the Burning Spear class in MK11 and get lots of practical damage just like this. It's kind of absurd. That's doing 47% damage. Issue is you need teleport cancel. So in reality, at the highest level, you're not getting all of that damage, but you can get that damage at the highest level for your throws. So it's a damage boost. Compared to MK1 Scorpion, has good base damage. The damage in this game in general is a bit higher, but it's really good. It's doing like 40% for 1 bar of meter. But the thing is, as I said, damage in this game is higher overall. So characters like Melina, Lee May, a few others are doing 50% combo BMBs comparatively. So he's not at the top of the pack. And I think that's a good way to wrap it. MK1 Scorpion wins by a point. That makes sense. MK1 Scorpion is a higher tier character in MK1 than MK11 Scorpion is on the tier list in MK11. He was always going to win this one. Now, which do I prefer playing is the real question. I think it is a tie if you are using Scorpion Pharah in MK1 because it brings back shades of MKX Scorpion where you get the vortex right here. You can launch just like this, loop back into it, and start your Vortex 50-50 mix-up. It plays like MKX. But if we take MK11 Scorpion and compare it to Scorpion Jax in MK1, I much prefer this version of Scorpion. It's a highly engaging, skill-based neutral just like that, with a lot of creativity behind it, with a cool neutral jump punch. I could speak on the fact that MK11 Scorpion probably has better strike throw overall. MK1 has better mix-ups overall because these aren't true mixes. The opponent knows exactly what's going to follow as soon as you start that move. I do believe that Scorpion in MK11 has better footsies, so he can really whiff punish at these ranges if the opponent just throws out a move and you kind of backdash it and then do something. But I think the neutral control, whether you like it or not, is better in MK1 because Scorpion Jax is just OP. It's boring to watch and to me boring to play, but it holds down neutral like almost no other Scorpion we've ever had. So I hope you guys enjoyed a little trip down memory lane. I'm putting Scorpion and MK1 just slightly ahead, but both are such chef's kiss characters. I'll catch you guys next time.